want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
Now, we got to get stuff ready for our turkey pot pie that we're going to end up making in a day or so. Okay? Maybe tomorrow. Well, actually, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so probably not tomorrow. So I've got a few carrots. I've also got some celery here. We're going to take a few stalks off. I'm going to cut the ends off here of the carrots. And I'm going to end up peeling the carrots. I can just use the back of my knife. There's no reason to get out a vegetable peeler or anything. Okay. But with that being done, from here what we want to do is we want to cut these in pieces that basically will go on the end of a fork or set in a spoon. So I just washed the celery, going to get rid of that. And pretty much the same thing, I want these to be in pieces that will fit on a fork or set in a spoon. It's a little bit of red pepper flake. I don't want to put too much in here, but I do want to give this just a hint of heat, so that goes in the bowl. So we've got some cleaned off potatoes here, and we want to cut these up into the same size, like I mentioned before, that would fit on a fork or a spoon. Okay, I might add another potato because these are kind of small, but essentially something like that. Okay. You can use fresh parsley if you want, or you can use dry, like I'm doing here. We got some parsley in there. Hint of basil, but not too much. This right here is rosemary. I'm going to be cutting this up into small pieces. Okay, so this rosemary is going to go inside there as well. This is a little bit of thyme, ground thyme. You can use fresh thyme. I've got some fresh thyme in the garden. I just don't feel like getting it. I'm going to be putting a little bit of salt on this. That's actually going to end up taking out some of the moisture out of this. A day or so, when it's time for us to do this, we can drain some of the water out. Okay, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to put it away. And I'm going to use this when it's time to do the turkey pot pie. So let's get started on the turkey pot pie. A lot of this stuff I've already cut up into cubes, and then just for the sake of speed, you don't really need to see me do it. But what we're going to do is we're going to put some olive oil inside here. And into that olive oil that is heating up, I'm going to throw a stick of butter. During the time that I was making my Thanksgiving turkey, I was smart enough to cut up all the things that I need. And I have a video showing exactly what I ended up cutting up. And we're going to throw all of this inside here all at the same time. We're going to be throwing some onion pieces in there. There's a little bit of cream of mushroom soup on this, but that's okay because it's going to end up going inside here too. But essentially what we want to do is get this stuff completely sauteed. So we're going to let this cook for a while. We're throwing some fresh thyme inside here. Some rosemary from the garden here. That'll help a little bit of the flavor. You can always add more. It's up to you, you know. While all that stuff's going on, I'm going to be adding a little bit of chicken stock to this. Let that evaporate and reduce. We're going to end up losing some water during the time that this is cooking, and that's fine and dandy. During the time that that is going on, I'm also going to be adding some turkey from Thanksgiving dinner. The reason why I'm adding the turkey now is because it's been setting for a while and it's gotten dry. So this will help absorb a little bit of the liquid, and it'll start softening up a little bit. It already is a lot drier just from adding that turkey. Okay, so this stuff is starting to look pretty good and look pretty hot, so I'm going to add a little bit more chicken stock to this and add some water. This is about 10 ounces of water. Maybe 8. Okay, and we're going to be adding something else to this. Remember Thanksgiving when I ended up making that gravy? We're going to put a scoop of gravy in there. And that's been in the refrigerator, and that's pretty much why it looks the way that it does. But we want that to dissolve in that hot water and stock. That will add some more flavor to everything. And we're going to be adding some cream of mushroom soup to this. This is a cream of mushroom soup that I had made. You can see the video of me doing that if you're interested. And we're going to mix that inside here too. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of salt. Adding some black pepper, of course. And of course, you can't have a turkey pot pie without peas. I'm just going to be putting some frozen peas inside here. So this filling smells pretty damn incredible. And I had just tasted it, and it's got a super turkey pot pie flavor. And that's basically what we're looking for, right? And as this cooks, it'll reduce a little bit more as we turn the fire off. It'll thicken even more. I'm going to push everything down underneath the liquid, and I'm going to turn the fire off, and I'm just going to let it sit and finish its cooking like this, and then I'll be able to scoop this up and put it inside the pies before it goes into the oven. And this is still going to evaporate, so this is still going to thicken. It's still going to cook probably another 10 minutes. Well, it is time for us to make the crust, to make the dough. You don't need an electric mixer for this, but an electric mixer is going to end up helping. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about a cup and a quarter of flour, a little bit of salt, sugar. What I've done is I've taken a stick of butter, and I went ahead and I grated it. Okay, and this will help a little bit. You can do this in the food processor, and then just kind of end up pulsing it, and just letting it kind of cut up the butter and everything, and allowing it to mix like that. You can also use butter flavored Crisco or anything along those lines. Okay, and what I want to do is I want this to mix until it becomes kind of crumbly. Okay, so that has come together into like little crumbly things, and now I have ice water, and I'm going to pour ice water in here until this dough comes together. Okay, so I'm only going to be adding enough water for this to kind of come together. We don't want it to come together like a normal dough. We want it to be a little loose. And then that way, if we squeeze it together though, it will stay together. And that is fine. I don't need to add any more water. In fact, I may have added a little too much. Okay, so that's done. Generally things don't stick to parchment real well, but I'm going to put a little bit of flour here just in case, and you'll see that the dough sticks to itself real well, okay? And we don't want to overwork this. But what I want to do is I want to take this, set it down, and I'm going to start rolling this out. What I've done is I've put a little water underneath the parchment paper to help make it stick to the countertop, so that way it doesn't slide around so much. So I'm going to take this, kind of set it in here, and let it sink to the bottom. Take a knife and cut around the outside, and then the rest of this dough we can use. So from here, let's take our filling. Okay. So we can take this and set it down here. go around the outside of this, cut off the excess. Typical old school way is using a fork, and you just kind of push down on it, okay? And this essentially will seal it. Okay, so now what we have to do is we need to put some kind of vent in this, okay? So we can pop a hole like that, one like that. That's probably going to work. So here's an egg. I'm going to pour a little bit of milk inside here. This is actually half and half. Okay, you can use water, and we want to mix this up real well. And then we're just going to end up coating the top of this pot pie with this mixture. Okay, after it's well mixed, and it'll help brown it. Using my kind of like my fork as a makeshift one to cover this up. .425 degrees, and we are going to be cooking this till the crust turns brown. And yes, it's 6:42 in the morning. Okay, so it's taken about 30 minutes. So that one, nothing, no drips, nothing, that thing looks perfect. There's a small one, had a little bit of drips. And of course the big one, we had a lot of drips. There you go, guys. There are my turkey pot pies. I'm not going to eat any right now. Actually, I'm not going to eat any at all. Gluten intolerance as well as onion and garlic sensitivity. But when my wife wakes up, she'll have a full-size breakfast. I'm pretty sure she's going to go for this one first, but it is what it is, and that is awesome sauce.